Rest in
Yeah,
peace, Barbara Walters. I'm the Barbara Walters for today.
I'll talk to you about that offline. But anyway, we'll be right back, and yeah, see y'all after a while.
Now recording.
The following podcast may have adult humor,
Swear words.
innuendos of a adult nature.
Making fun of me.
That's a given. Everybody looks forward to that. But just know that you have been warned. Check out these friends of Knights of the Braille.
Hello, I'm Quinn.
And I'm Alex.
And we're
a couple of characters.
We discuss topics related to creating characters for role-playing games.
We talk about fun characters we've created.
And give advice about how to make your own quirky characters.
Check us out every other week, wherever podcasts are found.
Jesse, how we doing?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Can't complain. You know, we hadn't recorded like a podcast since last year.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
All I'm going to say is I'm glad it's not, well, I don't remember the actual, but 0 degrees anymore.
Yeah, so that'd be really cold.
Yes.
But yeah, we're gonna try to do things a little differently this year. You know, we're going to interview like characters to show somebody how they can get into the headspace of a character, which, you know, I think is very important.
I think it is too. Just to expound on that a little bit. You know, you and I have talked before, I don't think on the show, but how we both did fantasy wrestling where we had to write role plays and stuff like that.
Right.
But it was still hard for me to get in the headspace. Like, I didn't know, okay, I'm playing this character, but like I couldn't get to the point where I'm thinking as the character. Like, I can do it now, but I struggle with it at first.
Right. And you know, it's really important because then you can, once you're in their headspace, you know how they will either act or react to something that happens. And you know, you played in enough games with me that my characters are usually totally different, other than that they're usually dwarfs, but their attitudes are just way off. I mean, way different from other ones.
I think the one thing I haven't done yet, well, I kind of did it with Kelton eventually, but a lot of characters I just, based on my personality, so I don't have to think of like how would they react, I just react.
Right. And you know, and that's a good way to do characters if it's hard for people to get into headspaces or to step outside of, you know, their own like choices and all. You know, if that makes any sense. But we're going to get into that here in just a minute. Want to tell everybody that you can still go and get some of the Titans. The price is now $12.95, but with the promo code KOTB2023, that's all capital letters, KOTB2023, you get a 25% discount, and you know it will be under $10 there. As always, the link is in the show notes. Be sure to go support them. They are an awesome tool. I've enjoyed using them. They help me like
Did you use them for this week's session at all?
I did.
Okay.
Granted, y'all didn't do much, but
I think we did.
Well, y'all did a lot of like fighting, but I mean, mostly you went into this room, and then backtracked. You know.
Right. Yeah.
But they're really good for that. Talked to some people who said they really enjoy using them as like spell cards, or I give Mama some of them, and she likes to use them as like recipe cards, and also as like putting pictures in them. She gets tired of looking, you know, at one picture. She can turn it around, and there's another one.
What if your mom was like you didn't know, but was a closet D&D player?
She's not, but I think it'd be really cool. I think that'd be really cool. Like,
That's a really good
yeah,
idea. I don't know why I didn't think about that though. That's a really good idea for recipe cards.
oh yeah, yeah, I think it'd be really cool to have a whole family that played D&D, or a tabletop game in general, other than
Like
like Monopoly or something like that.
like my good personal friend Temple, who you always said I didn't like. When
As you
I
don't.
when I used to be on Twitter, he would always say how he ran games for his nephews or something like that. That always sounded cool to me, like little kids.
Oh yeah. I like Old Temple, and yeah, I mean, I use the Knights Braille Twitter now, but as far as my own personal one, nah, social media. But anyway, that's really all of the news. For this episode, our plans, and I say our plans, I decided on it, and Jesse's just going along with it. That's what you have to do sometimes. Is because can be so indecisive.
I would pretty much go along with whatever you said anyway, though. I'm just that kind of
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, you got that mentality. Not mentality. What's the word? Personality.
Personality, yeah. Which
But
Katie hates, but anyway.
yeah, I don't like decision making myself because if it goes wrong, then
I truly
everybody
don't
looks
care.
at you.
I'm like dinner, for instance. She's like, "What do you want to have?" Literally anything is fine with me. Like I don't like crave something where I'm like, "I want this today." Like I'm good with whatever.
Yeah. But on special, like maybe the first Monday of the month, we will have like character interviews as long as they can last. And I have several different characters, so it can last for a good while. Jesse has
Can I bring
some as
Bodar
well.
back to life just for this segment?
We might can do it mentally. We'll see.
Okay.
I may
Okay.
allow it. But
Because I wouldn't mind doing all my characters, to be honest.
right. And that's really what I want to do is show the different headspaces that somebody has to get into in order to do that.
And I think I want to we haven't talked about this, but I think it'd be cool to get other people from our table to be their characters.
Of course, and anybody else that wants to do
Anybody
it
else,
as well.
but at the same time, I think it's interesting to see for someone to see the multiple headspaces that one like me or you have to get into because our characters are different.
Right.
Like each character we play is different.
Right. So the first Monday of the month will likely be character, interviews. The second Monday is going to be like terminology and monsters. The third Monday, could be like a monster creation. Because I'm doing a Monster 23 challenge, which is where I create a different monster every day. And,
I didn't know you were doing every day.
Oh yeah.
You could do that on the podcast, like create it as your.
Yeah, that's going to be one of them. Yeah, definitely. Okay. And then the last Monday of the month will be like a regular blind night, where we may recap the whole month, or depending on how many Mondays are in the month, depends on what shows will be up. Yeah. So
I don't
really
know
looking
how
forward to that.
You feel, but this new schedule, the first thing that jumps out to me is I only have to think of one book.
Right. Say maybe the fourth Monday or the fifth Monday, whatever, and these can be rearranged, just depending on like I said, how many Mondays they are. We could go over a tabletop game that we played, like say Adventure Skeletons or the Sexy Battle Wizards or, something like that.
I was disappointed in that one.
Yeah, me too. But that's going to be our schedule. So yep. Jesse and I are fixing to head off to see if we can find Phoenix. And Jesse's going to be asking the question.
I just want to make love to you. Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Joey B. I am the founder of Blind Knowledge. BlindKnowledge.com is where it's at. Podcasts, streamers, gamers, music. We got content. It's real. It's truthful. It's dope. Check it out, man. BlindKnowledge.com. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Jesse, this is the Temple of Merkle.
Spiderweb.
Ooh. I mean, it is kind of creepy, though, but Ain't this where
It touched me.
it touched you? The spider
The
touched
spider
you or the
web.
spider web? Oh,
Spider web.
yeah.
Yeah, this is where we're supposed to find Phoenix.
Yeah, that's what the note said, or the message
Does it
stone.
smell funky in here? It smells like death.
I think that's just the last time you took a bath. It's been a
That
while.
was yesterday.
Well, we did have to walk through the sewers, so.
Yeah, could be that.
Well, I'm gonna let you take it over and enjoy, my dude.
All right. See if we can find our interview subject here. Looks like there's bones along the walls. They must sacrifice in this temple. Someone has a spell book haphazardly thrown on the floor that they should pick up after themselves. Hello? Anybody here?
Oi, there is.
Oh, where'd you come from?
I am much like death. I'm always around.
You might want to clean up your spider webs. I mean, those things are nasty.
Spiders must eat as well.
So, Phoenix, I want to thank you for doing this interview with Knights of the Braille.
It is my pleasure to spread the word of Merkel.
So let's start off with that then. What got you interested in becoming a follower of Merkel?
Well, it figures the first question that you ask is a very deep one, to say the least. Much like a well, very, very deep. Well, you see, when I was much younger than I am now, I was nearly beaten to death by my father, who, bad habits die hard, I say, but he forced me to call him father, even though he was not biologically mine. He would beat me nearly to death at least 3 times a week, and one time he had a bit too much to drink and went a bit too far, and I was bleeding out there on the rug and had a vision from, I didn't know who it was at the time, but come to find out that it was the god Merkel, who gave me the opportunity to worship and follow him and spread his word, to basically be a disciple of his, and in exchange for him giving me my life back to healing me, that's what I would do for him for all of eternity. And I say eternity until I go to that great equalizer death.
How many people do you think you've given to Merkel?
I'll say Jesse, if I may call you Jesse.
Sure. Like let's say you find a goblin and it attacks you, so you kill the goblin. Is every kill you make go to Merkel?
That's where a lot of people have a misconception of the god of death. Granted, death comes for us all, would you agree?
Yes.
You see, when someone attacks and I merely defend myself, that, while the goblin in question would die, it's not necessarily that I'm giving the goblin to Merkel. Granted, there is the other god, and I use that term very, very loosely, the god of death, Erebus. I would consider the goblin then going to Erebus instead of the god of Merkel. You see, whenever I give someone to Merkel, when I give them the death that is either coming for them and can be quite painful, or it can be a releasing of the spirit, I do not do it in a mean nor painful way. I gently guide them to the afterlife, to a life of no pain, no hurt, no trials, nothing like that. A lot of people think that, just because you die means you go to either, a bad place, that's going to be painful. But with me and the way that I do it, it's releasing them from this pain that they have here. Because do you not hurt, like, whether it be a headache or an arm hurting, or does it not eventually just seem like you cannot go on anymore?
It does, but at the same time, do you think of yourself as evil? Because, like, you're choosing to take this person, lead them to death when that might not be what they want.
What I do is take into account the shape that their body is in. Say
But
that
you wouldn't
they...
just kill someone with, like, a headache then?
No.
Okay.
Like, if someone has fallen, been run over by a wagon or trampled by a horse, and there's
Okay. So you're not an assassin then?
Exactly.
Okay.
I lead them from their what would be a life of endless pain and suffering to a plane where they feel none of that anymore.
So, what made you decide to become an adventurer? Like, why was that the life you'd chosen?
I can't say that I'm necessarily an adventurer in the generic sense of the word. I don't go out seeking treasure or
Stuff just kind of finds
fame.
you, like,
Pretty much,
situations.
Yes. You see, I go out and spread the word of Merkel. Whether that finds me in an adventuring party, or whether I have been sent a goal or a mission by Merkel, that's what finds me in what a lot of people would call the adventuring life, such as yourself did. But it's more or less that I have joined them because I have a job or a quest given to me by Merkel.
Now, you know that I am close personal friends with this person, so I have to ask you this question. Were you surprised, and how has your relationship evolved with a certain Paladin of Torm? Were you surprised you became friends with this person, I guess is what I mean.
Well, what you have to understand is, while other people think that I'm evil, I do not see my own self as being evil.
Right.
I healed people, that, it would take them, would not hurt them to live on. I help out those.
I think people just see, you're following Merkel when they just assume that, okay, he must be evil. But sitting here in this interview with you today, you don't see, it makes sense why you do what you do.
Exactly. A lot of people see these black and purple robes with this symbol of Merkel right here, and they immediately think, he's evil. But, let me ask you this before I answer your question.
Sure.
Is death evil?
No, it's a process that we all go through at one point or another.
Exactly. Let me ask you this. Is death in the way of murder, is that evil?
I would say, unless it's self-defense, that it is evil.
But that's not murder. Self-defense is exactly that.
Then yes, I would say murder is.
See,
in my opinion.
I fully agree. I believe that murder, just to be murder, is evil. And I personally cannot stand it. But to answer your question about Kreger, a very, very good friend of mine. We've had a few drinks, and I've actually tried to do a bit of research
Did he
on
ever get his
how.
arm back?
Unfortunately, that's what I've been trying to
Oh,
research
okay.
is how to grow it back. And of course, it's always up to the will of the gods whether something happens or not. And
Right, right.
from what I can deduce at the moment is that he must suffer a bit longer for the reward to be even greater when it happens.
He's been going through a lot, it seems like, though. It's been a while, so who knows?
The last I heard, well, it hasn't been that long since I talked to him, but he seems to be coping with it as well as can be expected. I mean, it's almost like if he were to get another hand, he would have to relearn all the things that he had to relearn with the one hand.
Right. I think in speaking to him the little bit that I have, I think he feels like he deserved that for whatever reason, so it's his kind of his penance.
Oh, I understand completely.
And my last question for today is, and we heard about your adventuring life and your time with a certain party, and are you still in contact with the Ranger Canilla?
We have not spoken to Canella in many a year. We
That was kind of an odd friendship from what I don't even know if you'd call it a friendship, but an odd like
well think it was
understanding maybe.
mutual respect or mutual
Mm.
understanding is the best way that I can think to name it. But while we did not part ways on bad terms, nor did we part ways on exactly good terms
Just kind of
either.
parted ways.
Pretty much. Now, if Canella ever needed me, of course, I would be there as quickly as I could be. And I'm sure Canilla feels the same way that I do there. But it's more or less that we don't necessarily see eye to eye, and getting along is
Right.
the better end of the stick on fire, if that makes sense.
It does. Phoenix, I want to thank you for this interview. Thank you for taking the time. And I lied. My last question is actually, what's next for you? Like, what do you have any plans? Are there any? I know you're not an adventurer, but are there any situations coming up that you're finding yourself taking part in?
Well, of course, there's always politics that get involved, which I personally cannot stand.
Yeah.
But as far as any big things coming up, I have to say that, it's a really busy life being a cleric, despite whoever your god is, whether it's the god of life, the god of gardens, the god of whatever. The life of a cleric is a busy one because, unlike most of my other brethren, and I say that term very loosely, only meaning that they are clerics themselves,
Uh,
I only do services for those who are less fortunate and cannot afford the correct or the proper funeral rites, because everyone that lives a proper life deserves to have the proper words spoken over them whenever they go to meet Merkel.
they deserve the proper death, maybe.
Exactly, my friend. Is there another last question that you
No, that is the
wish
last
to
question. Thank
ask?
you so much for this time.
Very well. Come back anytime. You're always welcome here. How did it go?
I thought it went well. Do you think it was long enough? Like, did I have enough questions?
Yeah, it'll work.
Okay.
we're gonna do some editing into here, and
Yeah.
we'll get it good. Appreciate you
I thought it
going
was.
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I have to say though, I had a different. I mean, maybe it's you're not supposed to have preconceived notions, but I came out with a different opinion on him. He's not. You know, you think God of Death evil. He's not evil. He's providing a service. I don't know. I don't know if I'd say he's a hero per se, but he's not like this evil. You know, I would think like devil worshipping piece of shit. Like he's not that.
Pretty cool guy.
Yeah. I'm
Hmm.
always welcome if you want to meet him sometime. You know.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
No.
All right. So who do we have next month? Do you know? Have you reached out to anybody?
Huh. I think I heard you mention Kreger, right?
Yes, I did.
Huh. You reckon he'd be up for an interview?
Oh, I'm sure he would. He's friendly.
Ah.
You know those holy friendly paladins. I'm sure he would.
That sounds like a plan then. And we're just on our way back to the studio here, and
I
yeah.
feel like I need a shower though. Not something because of him, but just that place was just creepy and dusty and. Ugh.
Well, all the spider webs, but spiders have to eat too. So I mean,
That's exactly what he said.
see, that's creepy. It's like he's in my head or something, or
Yeah.
maybe I'm in his head.
Next thing you know,
Um,
you're gonna start saying "I."
like I, like as
Yeah,
an
like
eyeball.
AYE. I think like it's a term for like yes.
I can never
Kind
do
of.
it like that. Like that.
Yeah, but
Huh.
it's more velvety. Like I.
Uh-huh. Gotcha. All right, everybody. That's we try and do like a little skit like that, but that's how you get into the headspace of someone. And since it was me, obviously, I'm sure y'all can tell. And just, do you have any questions like how I get into Phoenix's headspace?
I do. I have one kind of like. Do you fully develop the headspace before you play start the game, or does it all develop over time, like how your interactions with the other characters, and how things take place?
Um, this would be an answer, but probably not an answer.
Okay, it
I kind of
depends.
do. I kind of do both.
Oh, okay.
For Phoenix, because I jumped into the game with you all,
Yeah.
I had like I think 3 weeks to a month before I was going to jump in with y'all, so I had plenty of time to get into Phoenix's headspace, to build it, to see what I wanted, see how I wanted him to act, and really to do an evil character that made everybody think that he was good. To show that an evil person doesn't always have to be the perceived definition of evil.
Right. Did you listen? Like, did you get to listen to? Because I think we were doing it as a podcast back then. Did you listen to like the last few sessions before you jumped in, or did you just jump in, or did
I
Jim like
was
give you information?
when Jim gave me some background,
Okay.
some notes that he had taken. I listened to a couple of the episodes, and then I don't go into a session like that, jumping into one anyway, or into any of the other ones for that matter, knowing how I'm going to react with, say, Kreger or Canilla. I leave that for the spur of the moment. I know
I think the only
how.
thing we knew is that we would react in some way because of we were close. We were close by that point.
Yeah,
So
I go into it, like knowing that, say they may be good, they may not like me, so I'll go like off of how someone, would
act.
react if they did not
The
like
Canilla
me.
thing was perfect.
Oh yeah. My favorite timing for that whole thing
Was
was
the end
when.
with the body?
Oh,
The
you're talking
last
about that the cliff?
Yes, the last
Yeah.
thing we ever did. I think that was our last session.
No. We had
Oh, was
several
it?
other ones. In fact, where
Oh,
we left
okay.
off, we were climbing up the ship that had the
Oh,
living
oh, that's
vines
right,
on
that's
it.
right, that's right, that's right.
But yeah, where you and I first really interacted, because I built the statue of the werewolf or the lycanthrope from the village that had lost all of their people.
Yeah,
So, and that's not something you would think an evil person would do.
no.
You
I
know,
think our biggest interactions were after that, the body, because I knew that you'd done it, and
but
then
Krager didn't.
right, and then the other one, we had big interaction around the funerals for the villagers.
Yes. So it's not. I'm trying to think how to describe this. I had plenty of time to get into his headspace, to and I've done other characters, we'll talk about them as we get to them. But like Aurelio, I knew I wanted him to be basically like a hippie,
He was so great
basically a hippie without doing
with
the
his
drugs.
flowers.
Well, that was Jim Bob that did the
Oh,
flowers.
why do I always confuse the two of them? Okay.
Because they are kind of similar. But Aurelio was all about
Jimbo Johansson, that's me.
That's me. He's got to be an interview too.
Yes.
The one that I did not create a headspace for was Draco. He was my first character, so
You wouldn't know. Like, it
yeah,
was kind of how I was with Krager.
But
and Talon, to be honest.
But now it's like I have concepts, so I want to go into it like finding, what I want to do and then playing off of it, adjusting if I have to, or anything like that. Like, for instance, Artemax, I have a very generic base for him. I know why he talks.
Right?
Well, that too, but I know why he doesn't talk a lot, because, he doesn't talk clear. I know why he doesn't talk clear. And, I also know why he has never revealed his face to y'all. Because, think back on the sessions we've had.
Yep.
Y'all have never seen his face.
Right.
So it's not hard. It just, may take you a little bit to get into the headspace.
Yeah.
As far
I feel like
as
a session, maybe.
Yeah. NPCs, are kind of like flat unless something just clicks whenever you're creating them. So it just.
Well,
really
we all
depends.
know about the NPC of Emma and how that developed.
Yeah. Oh, Emma. But any other questions that you might have for me about Phoenix?
I don't think. I just want to see him pop up somewhere again.
You never know.
But the only problem is you and I. Well,
none of y'all have ever interacted with him.
Right now run things, so.
Yeah. But it was enjoyable. Phoenix is probably my favorite character. Because I just put so much into him. And I'm sure you remember the battle that Robin, Canilla, and I had with that bone claw.
That thing was vicious.
Yeah. Where I told, Canilla to take the kids and go. I mean, I was fully willing, and Phoenix was fully willing to sacrifice himself to save them. And is that something that an evil character would do?
No. Well, I wouldn't think.
No, I mean, he worships the god of death. He's, a cleric of the god of death. So he sees it as the penultimate, or whatever the word is, to go to him as a sacrifice. But like I said, he's one of my favorite characters. I think that scene or that fight is where Canilla got full respect for Phoenix.
Do you have a least favorite character?
I don't know.
I think I do.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of all my characters. I don't know. Who's your least favorite? While I'm trying to think and see if I have
mine is, and it's the most I put the most into him, but it just never worked out. Was when we jumped ahead and had level 20 characters. Damien.
Yeah, I
would love to bring him back again, though.
I think working on him and growing as you level up, you are growing, your character is growing.
Because my idea for him was a great idea, I felt
Yeah.
like.
Least favorite. I can't say it's Draco, but it probably is Draco. Um, because I really was learning at the time.
Yeah.
No. I'd have to say it's probably Gorth and Blood Axe. I mean, I had a little bit
Which one
built
was
out for
that?
him. He was one that I was doing in the live session here recently
Oh.
on Thursday nights that shut down.
I still feel bad we never got to learn the ideals for the one you built that got killed by the monster.
I
You
know.
only for one session.
Yeah, the laws that he had to follow.
Yeah. I
Which,
did not wait to see that.
yeah, I know some people say stuff about, well, that law contradicts that law. Well, yeah. You know, what
It's
laws in
real life
America,
though.
yeah, real laws in America contradict the other laws. But, yeah, it is what it is. But, you know, probably Gorton, I'd have to say, is my least favorite.
Uh,
Um, I also remember Barney, you know.
oh, Barney.
uh,
One I loved that actually isn't dead, so I could bring it back is Jasmine the Tabaxi.
yeah, I remember Jasmine.
I had so much fun with that being a cat. Oh my god! And mess.
We,
Do we mess with Mitch? Is that who it was again?
I think, yeah, it's always Mitch.
You make it
Uh,
too easy. That's what I told him the other night. I'm like, Mitch, you just make it too easy to mess with you.
yeah, but
You get that
everybody,
little bit of frustration, which is even makes it more hysterical.
yeah, he does sound like he gets upset. But that's a character. That's how you get into a headspace. And
Yep.
the next time that you hear one of my characters, it'll be a totally different personality.
He's got probably a dwarf.
I said personality, not character
I
race.
know.
But everybody, that's how you do it. Appreciate you listening. Hope you enjoy it. Remember to like, share, review, and
Subscribe. And one final thing.
oi.
This episode is brought to you by the Knights of the Braille and is made possible through the support of viewers such as you. Please remember to like, share and subscribe to get all of the latest information and episodes. Thank you.